3, 2, 1. Here we go, Monica. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Gonzo Experience. I am David Gonzo Mamano here with another episode that is, I'm pretty sure it's going to bring you so many smiles because this story is super, super fantastic. The first time I heard it, I really was so touched and excited about this story, not only because it was a great story, but because it turned into a business, which I love even more. So with that being said, I want to welcome Jennifer Zawadzki to the Gonzo Experience. Jennifer, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
So happy to have you here. You're getting kind of famous. You were just on a TV show in Denver, Colorado, correct?
Yeah, Kathy J show. It was so fun.
The Kathy J show, and I've been following you on social media. You're doing some great things. It looks like you know what you're doing, and like you have some experience. So Jennifer, we're going to get to your great story, but what I want to do first is get us to that point where the story starts. Like, who are you? What were you doing in the business world? And then I want to get to the meat of your story, the beginning meat of your story.
Yeah. Okay. So, who am I? Ooh, deep question. But from a business standpoint, I am a woman who, when I was 19 years old, left my hometown in Canada to go work on cruise ships. And little did I know this, what I thought would be a 10-month adventure would completely change my life and bring me to the United States 10 years later, to kind of run a program there. So that's what happened is I started on cruise ships. And then
what did you do on the cruise ships? Were you a singer?
No. Well, funny enough, though, I went to high school at a special arts program for singing. But
okay. No, so not so far off.
I did not. And that's a good thing. No, I did a couple of different things. But I ultimately landed in a position where I was essentially a brand ambassador. So what I would do is I would get up on stage and I would educate the passengers about all of the opportunities available in the ports of call. And then I had my own television station that I kind of managed on board the ships, and we did the publications and all of that. So when they brought me over to the United States, when they sponsored me to come to train the people that did that, then I got more involved on the publication side and a little bit more intimately involved with the media side. So anyway, fast forward, I end up I struggled to conceive for many years, and for some reason was convinced at the time that it was because I was living in Miami. I have no idea why. But so my husband and I at the time moved to Charleston, and I started consulting then at that time. I did for 6 years. I consulted with Caribbean retailers and international brands, and I helped them build their promotions and programs there, and traveled the world doing that. And then I got the call. I got the call from the company that I initially started working for to come back to be groomed to take over as general manager. So they knew that I had all of these different facets, having worked, with them on the ships, having managed the program shoreside, on land-based, and then moving on and dealing, as a consultant with the consumers and understanding their point of view. They brought me back to run operations. So to groom me again to be general manager. So it was a great opportunity for me. And so we sold our house in Charleston, packed everything up in the moving truck, and started heading down to Miami so I could start my new job.
All right. So because I kind of know what happened next. So listeners, this is where the story gets interesting, right? So you guys are, if I remember correctly, you're kind of co-driving your moving truck, right? Down to your new job, your new house, your new life.
Yep.
And a very crucial, quote unquote, interesting conversation takes place.
Correct. So we're about halfway from Charleston to Miami when I think Jacksonville. And so my husband at the time turns to me in the moving truck and says, "Do you think we should get a divorce?"
Whoa.
And I was like, "Today?"
Are you reading the map wrong? I haven't heard of that town.
Can we pull over for second talk
I have to go to
about
the bathroom.
exactly. Yeah. And so I was terrified, not gonna lie. We were in a position where
I mean, did that just totally take you? I mean, were you having issues but you weren't expecting that, or it was like totally like water in the face?
No, I mean, we were unhappy for years. And honestly, in his defense, it was the right thing to do. It was just the timing was off, right? No, 100% it was the right thing to do. In my mind at the time, I was like, okay, so we don't have a house yet. We're 4 hours away from couch surfing with friends. You know, our son is 3 years old, and I'm starting my new job.
Was he in the truck with you guys?
My son?
Yeah.
No, they couldn't in the moving trucks. They didn't have that. So we were, we were dealing with that in a different way. But the dogs and the son were, we were meeting them there. So anyway, so I was like, but in his defense, again, he was like, yeah, but that's why, like, we don't, all the stuff we own is currently still in boxes, right? Our son is only 3. So if we do this right, it'll be the only life he really knows and remembers. And he was right. But like, it was hard. It was a really, really difficult period in my life. And I remember just, so we got these little apartments. It was actually really cool. We found a complex that had a north and a south complex and divided by a road. They both had their own little pools. And we worked at the same company too. Right. So we saw each other, we worked together every day for years after. But so we found this complex and I had this tiny little apartment, and I suddenly went from being like this full-time mom, full-time wife, full-time career woman, to every other week when my husband had my son, being completely alone. And I had no idea what to do in that space. And I remember it was so depressing. Like, I would just sit in my living room staring at the wall, like, what do I do now? Like, I don't even know where to start. Who am I? I looked in the mirror. I didn't even recognize myself anymore. People would say, go do something you love. I'd be like, what do I love? I'm a mom. Like, that's what I do. I work and I mom and I wife. So so that was an interesting time in my life, just kind of trying to figure out again who I was and how I was gonna, proceed from there. So then something miraculous happened.
This is where it gets interesting.
So then about 3 months into that transition, I receive a gift and a letter in the mail. I get these flowers and some chocolates and a letter that says, hey girl, I've just come back from the future because I wanted to let you know, like, I know you're going through a really hard time right now, but there is a light at the end of this tunnel. You're going to be okay. You're so much stronger than you're giving yourself credit for. Hang in there. I love you. Future Jen.
Future Jen.
Yeah, Future Jen. And I had no idea who sent that to me, but I wept. And it was just the most powerful gift and words I'd ever received. Then fast forward a week later, I couldn't believe it. Another gift and another letter comes from Future Jen. Hey girl, I know it's been a really tough week, but here's what I want you to do today. I want you to do one thing that makes you happy. Go reconnect with joy. I love you, Future Jen. This happened for 5 weeks in a row.
Now, are you thinking like, all right, I've seen movies about this, there's something as spiritual happening. Maybe there really is a future Jen and she's sending me these things and I just can't tell anybody because they'll think I'm crazy. I mean, what was going through your head?
No, to be honest with you, I remember I had a group chat with some of my girlfriends at the time we were on Marco Polo, if anyone knows that app, and you could video chat with each other. And about a week before I started getting these gifts, I remember we were video chatting and somebody saying, hey Jen, how are you really? And I was in the bathtub and I had, my face mask on and the cucumbers, and I'm Marco Poloing them and the cucumbers sliding down my face. And I'm like, I'm fine. It's fine. And there were 5 of them. on that group. So
Yeah.
I was actually convinced it was them.
It was one of them, or all
because
of
they
them.
were like, yeah, no, she's not okay. And
Yeah.
so we're going to do something creative. I thought it was them. And it turned out it was one of the girls, but I did not know that for a year. And I'll get into that in a minute. But yeah, so it was incredible though, because I'll tell you, even though I knew somebody that loved me was sending these to me, I couldn't figure out who. It still resonated different because when I would read those letters and read those words coming essentially from my future self, it just resonated different. It's hard for me to explain. I had so many people telling me that I was going to be okay and that I was going to thrive. And I was Gen Z, you know, that was my nickname.
Yeah.
And but I just couldn't believe them. I couldn't picture it until future Jen came, and then everything changed. So
what were some of the other messages that came?
The main things were that to hold on to hope, to reconnect with joy, to do something that I love and that makes me smile every single day with the joy, and that I was stronger than I was giving myself credit for, and also to remove the mama guilt. I remember that was one of them. I had a lot of mama guilt around the divorce and all that. I think that's normal. So yeah, those were the main things. And because of those messages, I started to think to myself, well, what if she's right? What if I could be this incredible person that future Jen says I could be? What does that even look like? Like, if I could be anyone, if I could rewrite my story, who would I be? And so that's when I started to dive in and get super intentional about how I was making my choices in my life. And I started looking at the 6 key areas of my life that I wanted to, improve. And so I got, that joy journal, and I got, I started exercising and signed up for a Spartan race. I mean, I just did all these things I never thought I would ever have done before.
Tell me about it. Tell me about the joy journal.
The joy journal. So, and I know we've talked about this before, but it was the coolest thing. I decided, okay, so reconnect with joy. Well, what even makes me happy? So what I did is I got this little pocketbook and I carried it around in my purse with me. And I said to myself, okay, every day that something happens that makes you feel happy or feel good, write it down. And then read it every night before bed and make a promise to yourself that tomorrow you will do more of those things. So it could be as little as, oh my gosh, I love Starbucks. I'm going to get another one tomorrow. Nice. And then it grew, right? So then it was like, I remember this gentleman that I worked with in the lunchroom one day, there was some great salsa music playing, and he grabbed me and we started dancing in the lunchroom. And I was like, I love this. Like when I worked on cruise ships, the dancers would do that, all the time. And it was so fun. And I'm terrible, but I'm smiling. And so, I went home that night and I got online and I found a dance instructor. And that gentleman came to my house every year, every Monday for a year. And he danced with me in my kitchen and he brought me so much joy. Nice. Yeah. So it was things like that. And then through those intentional decisions and, and writing it down and being more mindful of these things and then taking action on them, I became a more happy, joyous person.
Well, and I think that's a great idea. And actually, after I talked to you a couple of weeks ago for the first time, I just went out and bought a little notebook, and I started writing things down every day that bring me joy. And it's great to acknowledge it, look at it again, and be like, hey, maybe it was a tough day, but oh wow, when I had that conversation with my daughter yesterday, and then we went for a walk, that brought me joy, and just to relive that moment. Yeah.
It almost it taps you into gratitude, right? And everyone always hears about the gratitude journal, which is obviously very important as well, but it's a little bit of a different spin, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, there's I forgot who said it, but somebody said that before they go to bed every night, they think of 3 great things that they're grateful for, and they kind of try to fall asleep to those thoughts. Yes. What a great way to fall asleep, right?
Yes.
So.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, well, and speaking of falling asleep routines, one of the things that I did, I am a very huge believer in the power of words. I think words are things, Maya Angelou speaks about that. Words are things, they stick on the walls, they're in the carpets, they truly are. And so I'm a big believer in I am affirmations. And so when I started writing down who was this person I wanted to become, I used I am affirmations. I am strong. I am resilient. I am smart. I am all these things, down to the details of, I am the general manager of Onboard Media, like all the things that I wanted to become. And I recorded myself saying those things. I think I had over 100.
Oh, wow.
And what I would do is every night, as I would fall asleep, I would put the I am affirmations on, and I would fall asleep to them, because I knew that even when I was asleep, my subconscious was gaining from that, and I was creating the life of my dreams even while I was sleeping.
I think it's so important, and it's becoming more accepted. And I think as a man, if I told somebody 5 years ago that I was reading positive affirmations every day, they might beat me up, right? Like,
right.
like, Dave, are you okay? But not like, and it probably stems from, I don't know if you remember the skit on Saturday Night Live back in the day.
Yes.
That Stuart Smalley, I'm strong enough, and darn it, people like me. And he's trying to make. He was making fun of it a little bit, right? Or a lot of it. But it is so important. In fact, I had a friend that just made fun of me the other day as a joke, but I have an app it's called the I Am app. Do you know about this app?
Yeah.
And it sends me positive messages positive affirmations throughout the day.
Oh, I have seen that. I have seen that.
It's a free app, Google or whatever your app store is. I Am. It's a free app, and I get about probably 5 to 7 affirmations throughout the day, and I could choose what categories I'm looking for.
I love that so much. Truly, I believe there are 2 things you can do in your life that will change your life dramatically, and I'm a living example of that, right? I mean, I have changed my life in every possible way. That I've lost 70 pounds. I've completely, restarted my life in my 40s. I've transformed every aspect of my life. And I believe gratitude and affirmations, like words, when we realize that we are the author of our lives, when we truly get that we are the author of our lives and we can rewrite our story anytime we choose to do so, then you're inspired to pick up your pen and write your story. And it starts with, who are you? I am, and then fill in the blanks. And if you do that every day, even just 3 of them, and again, like you said, if you really want to up level that, take those 3, go to your mirror, say them out loud to your reflection. And then if you want to be, extra intense like me, record yourself saying them and fall asleep to them. It will change your life. I guarantee it.
I completely agree. And if you want to up it even another level, do it with the Anne or it was an Amy Cuddy pose. The TED Talk Amy Cuddy.
No, I do not.
Oh, you got to watch it. It's one of the top TED Talks ever. She has these power poses that makes her feel like Superwoman. And there actually is science behind it. By doing these poses, your whole essence, your whole mindset, everything gets more powerful. So
I believe it.
Amy Cuddy,
episode of, have you seen that show? Oh, shucks, I'm not remembering the name, where the American coach goes to England to coach the football team. Do you know what I'm talking about? Shucks. I can't remember the name of it, but it's the best TV series ever.
Oh,
anyway.
That's not Ted Lasso. I haven't seen Ted Lasso.
Yes.
Oh, it is. Okay. People keep on telling me I got to watch Ted Lasso, because I've had people, and I don't know if this is a compliment or not, say that Ted Lasso it makes them think of me.
I believe that. No, I totally can see that, which is such a compliment.
Oh, good. All right.
Yeah, no, please watch it. You will love it. But there's a scene in there where one of the woman who owns the football team, she says that's what she does, these power poses. So
power poses. Yeah. So Amy Cuddy, Cuddy, check her out.
I totally am going to do that as soon as we hang up.
So Gen Z in the house. I'm making up new nicknames for you. I love it. Gen Z. So this is all fine and great. It's a great story, even if it ended there. Future Jen, who turned out to be one of your friends, but really set the stage for transforming your life to the next level. So thank you, future Jen friend.
Yes.
But the story doesn't end there. You actually took that, like what was happening to you, and saying like, oh my God, this helped me so much. I can help other people with this idea. And
Yes.
then the spark of entrepreneurship was lit. So tell us about that.
Yeah. So what happened, and so I get these 5 weeks of gifts and letters. I start to believe future Jen. I start getting intentional, right? I start making all these changes. I completely transform my life. Almost a year to the date after getting that 5th gift, I get promoted to general manager of the company that I started, as a child working for, at the lowest level. And so it was just like one of the greatest accomplishments of my career. And I'm moving into my corner office in Miami when a guy walks in with a bonsai tree, and he puts the bonsai tree down on my desk. And the note on the bonsai tree says, "I told you so. Future Jen." Can you even?
Like, damn you, future Jen.
Can you even? And I just stood there like, this is incredible. And that's when I knew, this needed to be shared with the world. It just had to. It was too good. Because of course you have to think too, I was sharing this on social media, the whole journey, right? So many people thought I was doing it for myself. Like it was crazy. And I was getting calls all year like, "Hey, I've got a friend that's going through XYZ. What was that thing that person did for you? That was so cool. I want to do it for them." So it was in that moment that I knew. So I go home that night, first day on the job in my new job, right? My dream job, thinking, this is my purpose. This is why this has happened. And I remember just I grabbed a pen and a paper and I started thinking about all of the times in a person's life where they could use something like this. And I thought about my 3-year infertility struggle and how amazing it would be to get something like this from my future self during that, just so incredibly challenging, difficult journey, saying, hang in there, it's going to be okay. Even miracles take a little time, something like that, right? Then I thought about a friend of mine at the time who was battling with breast cancer and how amazing it would be to get something from your future self saying, fight on, be strong. Things like pet loss, which are so, so hard. Loss of a loved one, of course, one of the most difficult things we could go through. And then I, shifted to joy and thought, what about all of the things that we need to celebrate in life too? Like, wouldn't it be cool if we had a reason to give someone a chance to just stop for a second and take in that experience? Because we never do that. I feel like we don't do that enough. First, we don't celebrate each other enough. And second, we don't celebrate ourselves enough. We're so quick to move on instead of just saying, wow, I just accomplished this. Or, or just found out I'm pregnant and that's something to celebrate, or I'm getting married or whatever. So before I knew it, I had over 30 themes on this list of different ways we could love one another and support one another through all stages of life. And I created 5-week gifting programs that mirrored exactly what happened to me. And I created, single curated gift boxes, keeping in mind, I had no idea what I was doing, right? Like the sourcing.
Did you quit your job? Did you quit your job to do this full time? You kind of straddled both for a while.
I straddled both for almost 2 years,
okay,
which was not the intent, but the pandemic hit. And so, that was a challenging time.
Yeah.
What's that?
You had a little more time, right? So.
Well, it was challenging because actually I was in the cruise industry, which the cruise industry took a massive hit during that time. And because I was a leader in the organization, you have to think we had thousands of crew members stuck on these ships that needed to get home. And we would have crew members that were like halfway home to South Africa, and the South African borders would shut down. And we'd have to fly them back to London and get them housing in London. Like, it was nuts. So I couldn't leave. That was like, I could not leave. At that time, I was needed. And so I did straddle both for longer than I had initially intended to. And until truly I hit burnout. And because I was waking up typically 3:30 in the morning, and then I would work on Future You project until 7 in the morning. Then I would wake up my son for school, do the whole school routine, get him off, get myself ready, go to my corporate job, finish corporate job 6:37, 8 o'clock. Then, do the dinner, bath, bed routine, rinse, repeat. 18 months, right? And it was, but it was so fascinating to me because, and so inspiring to me, because I would say probably every 5-6 months, I would just crash and I'd cry and I'd be like, oh my gosh, I can't do this anymore. How am I going to keep going and add on the stress of the pandemic, right? Whatever. And then I would get an email or a letter or something from somebody I did not know who received a future you gift and would just say something like, you have no idea how much these words meant to me. They were exactly what I needed to hear at exactly the right time. Thank you so much. And I just go, that's why I'm doing this. And it would just fuel me for the next few weeks until the next one came, and that's what I did. And then finally I got to a point where I realized, okay, I'm going to have to take the leap. Like I just have to, and I have to, prove to myself and the universe and all of that, I'm all in on this. And so, because, it needed the attention.
So did you, great, fortitude, endurance, getting up at 3:30 is not easy when you're exhausted and to continue, but you had the dream and you just pushed through. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
So did you just kind of say, okay, there's enough revenue coming in from the new business that I could make the leap and I'll find a way to make it work? Or did you just, the proverbial entrepreneur who leaped off the cliff and, what do they say, built the plane on the way down, right? So
that's correct. Yeah, that was it. I was just hoping that if I took the leap, the parachute would appear.
Yeah.
I just thought, well, what I knew was that I had a little bit over a year at that time, because obviously the first 8-9 months were just building the brand, right? And then finally we launched the website. But I knew in that year of launching that if someone heard the story and they understood the concept, they were sending it to someone that they care about. And that person who received the gift understood the power of the gift and also knew somebody that would benefit from something like that. And so what I started to see was that ripple effect of kindness and love that was happening on a very small scale, but happening, right?
Yeah.
And so I knew it was resonating with people. So if I could just tell the story to more people, so more people could understand what was happening here, that this is such a different, this is a lasting gift, right? With powerful impact, that this is not, flowers are a beautiful sentiment, but flowers don't last, words do. And so I just knew if people could understand that and they could hear the message, that I could grow this and we could really do something wonderful. And I took the leap of faith. Yeah, 100%.
Well,
Terrifying.
And I think there's a really good lesson there is, and you just said it, having the courage having the faith and the courage to take that leap of faith. You don't have it all figured out. Maybe you have 10% of it figured out, but the conviction in you is so strong and you know that you will figure it out to take. Well, sometimes you just have to do that. You have to take that leap of faith. And I think,
and I'll tell you, like the amount of times I've said, if people always say, what's your why? Start with why. What's your purpose? Yeah. I spent so much time building out my mission statement, my core values. I spent a tremendous amount of time making sure that that was spot on so that I knew every single day what I was showing up for. And I'm so glad that I did, because I have had to go back to those time and time and time again to be reminded. When they say entrepreneurship isn't easy and that, it's a whole level, it's a different game. It's a different ball game. And
not for everybody.
If you do not believe in what you're doing, I just don't know how you can keep going. You have to have that why.
So 2 incredible lessons, at least in this podcast, is number 1 is that you had a problem. You found a solution. It was given to you, right? And you made a business out of it, saying, hey, I bet other people are going through problems where this solution would help them too. Light bulb, there is a business, right? So that's what a lot of great entrepreneurs do, is they find a problem and they start a business to, quote unquote, help fix it.
100%.
And so that's exactly it. And to make it even better, it's not like you saw a problem and had an idea to fix it. Like you experienced the problem. This was your problem, very personal, right? You were down and out. You said you gained 70 pounds. You weren't, it was just like your life was hell for a while. And this was a glimmer of light that eventually got you out of, the darkness and into the light. And then you're such an incredible, gracious person. You said, I'm going to help others with this. And yeah, I'm going to make some money to support the family at the same time.
Yeah. And hopefully, once we get bigger, do more bigger, better things. I remember listening to your podcast with Kendra Scott, who I just love and admire.
Incredible.
So much. Yeah. And hearing her story about the hat store, and how she's taken her past and her story and helping people, and that genuine desire to do that, and how she's built her organization now, and how I remember she was just talking about it. She never in a million years did she think she'd be able to give back as much as she's been able to do. Yeah. And I hold that vision every day, that I can grow this to a point where I could be like Kendra Scott and make a much bigger significance in the world.
Yeah. Thanks for bringing that up. Yeah. For those of you that haven't heard that episode, Kendra Scott Jewelry, go back, scroll down in your podcast app and go listen to it, because the hat store, it was a store that she had that went out of business. She closed the door, sat down, and then something great happened right then and there. I met her shortly after that happened in 2007. We were in a class together at MIT for entrepreneurs. And when we all met, we had to talk about who we are and where we want to be. And she literally said, well, I'm pretty much just starting out, and but my goal is to build $1 billion business. And I think some of us were like, all right, well, that's a little ambitious, but good luck. And lo and behold, a couple of years ago, her firm just got purchased by a VC company, and they valued it at $1 billion. So
she's so happy.
So and she's still humble, and you would never.
Yeah. And you said that. I remember you saying what's so great is you're still the same person.
She's still the same. She's still the same fun-loving, goofy, but just an incredibly talented person. And and I think that's if you are the type of person that can build $1 billion business and not get too caught up in your ego, then I think it's all that much extra special. So
I'm putting it out there. That is my goal. So I can, and I look up to her in every way, even the way that she manages in her company culture. Like, I don't know if you saw, she just announced they're giving the day after Mother's Day off as a paid holiday.
Oh, I didn't see that. Cool.
She just rocks.
Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. So, well, I think she should do it for Father's Day too. I'll have this discussion with her. So
you give her a call as soon as we hang up. Okay.
I'm sure she'll be like,
tell her I love her.
Yeah. I'll tell her that too. I'll tell her you got a big fan in Southern Florida named Gen Z. So Jen, tell us your website, name your company again, all the ways to get in touch with you, so that I'm sure there's a lot of massive new fans that want to get in touch with you after this podcast. So how do we do that? Website, all that stuff.
Great, thank you. So our website is futureyouproject.com. A couple cool things that can happen when you get there. First thing, sign up for the newsletter, because we give away 3 free gifts in 3 days. They're things like inspirational downloads and enrichment activities. Totally worth it. So futureyouproject.com. And when you get there, you'll see there's a couple different programs. We've got the 5-week gift experiences, like I said, and we've got the curated gift boxes. And if you know somebody who would benefit from, or you want to just acknowledge someone in your life for the greatness that they are, there's different ways you can do that. Personalize it, send them off, please. And then social media. So please follow us on social media. We're kicking off a new thing in May, where we're doing Freebie Friday, where we're for the whole month of May, every Friday, we're going to be giving away free gifts only on social media. So head over to @FutureYouProject on Facebook and Instagram. And then I am on, obviously on all of those things too, at Jennifer Lee Zawadzki. Totally easy to remember. You've got this. Jennifer Lee Zawadzki. And also I love LinkedIn.
That's how we met.
Yeah, that's how we met. Yeah, LinkedIn is an awesome networking site, and I love it. So please connect with me there at Jennifer Lee Zawadzki.
Excellent. No, it's funny, maybe because your last name, which is really not that difficult, but so Kendra Scott, which is a great name, and that's from her first husband. Scott was she's, she talks about that. She's been very good in business, but she's still working on the whole, successful marriage thing. but she jokes about it. But
we
she
have so much in common.
but she says the best thing she got from besides the kids is that great last name of Scott, because it's a great name for her company, Kendra Scott. And she says her maiden name, and I forget it now, but it was something like Kajama Bomber Wittstein. I mean, it was something crazy, you know? So, but
that's like when I met my husband,
and
he told me his last name was Shevchik, which I can't even tell you.
What is it?
Shevchik, Szewczyk.
Oh my God.
I went,
was there a vowel in there? Did you even say a vowel?
Right. I was like, I've waited my whole life to become a Smith or a Jones or something. Shevchik.
Yeah.
So then, when we got engaged, I remember telling my whole family, like, I'm going to hyphenate.
Yeah. I think you'd have the whole alphabet. That's great.
So I actually kept my own name. Anyway,
which in hindsight was smart to do. So
was amazing. Yeah.
Oh, Jen, I'm going to leave you with one last idea.
Please.
And feel free to incorporate this, because your idea, and I mentioned this to you, with the Joy Journal is such a great idea that I think you need to create a branded future self Joy Journal, just a a little small thing, and it goes in the boxes, because it really is, I think, a simple yet incredible piece of the pie to bring your life to the next level.
I think that is so wonderful. And I actually am in the process, since you mentioned it, of creating that.
Awesome.
Because I now do, I think you know this, I now do keynotes and workshops too.
Yeah.
And so I thought, wouldn't that be cool? Which has been a whole other, and you know this from experience, it is just the most rewarding thing ever to be in front of a group and inspire them. And so I am looking at doing that and giving that as a gift, to my audience, to the participants during these events. So thank you.
Yeah. Hey, no, thank you so much for, number one, being on the show. Number two, doing the great things that you're doing. And number three, being born. I think we can all say that we're very happy that you were born and doing the great things in the world that you're doing today. And number four, again, thanks for sharing heartbeats with me today, with us today, with the Gonzo family. Appreciate all the story and the advice and all the incredible, great things you're doing for the world.
You are the kindest, and I'm so glad we met, and ditto right back to you. Thank you.
Absolutely. And let me know when that Joy Journal's done. I'm buying the first one. Okay.
You got, well, as if I'll send you. It's in progress. So I really thank you so much. I think it's genius.
Excellent. Well, that was your idea. I just said hello, but
you need that. You need the nod.
Yeah.
That's the other thing about, entrepreneurship. You need a tribe of people around you, a support system to bounce ideas off of. And
absolutely,
you certainly should not do this alone.
Yeah.
And that's what you're so great for, because you've got Utopia.
I've got utopianetwork.com. Yes. That's what we do, is we connect and we grow together. So thanks for mentioning that.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, Jen, thank you so much again. Appreciate you. If anybody wants a personal introduction to Jen, let me know, and I'll do an email introduction. She's very responsive, very wonderful. Jen, thanks again. I wish you continued massive success.
Thank you so much.
The Gonzo family for listening and watching and being a part of listening to a new show, hopefully every Wednesday morning. Wishing you guys all the best, and make sure to stay awesome.